like it. I love it. Yeah.
Now when you go pre-owned, you can enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota. Tested and backed by Toyota.
Upgrade your car, mate.
This? Yeah, no big deal.
Toyota certified. Pre-owned in a class of its own. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Well, here we are, round 10 of the simrigs.com Oz Pro-Am Sim Series from Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And what great, exciting racing we have ahead of us for all of the categories involved, Pass 2, Pro and Am. But of course, first up comes Pass 2 in the GT4 cars. And this is such an interesting circuit for GT racing as well, super fast and flowing on the historic layout. So joining us on SimSpeed TV, David Haynes here with Jay Kennedy. Jay, what do you got for us?
I don't know, what have I got? I'm looking forward to this. This should be a very, very good round, and it should be a very, very exciting end of the championship. We've got lots still up for grabs. All three classes in the championship still up for grabs, which is always good. And this layout of Barcelona has probably become a bit of a favourite within the iRacing community. It obviously is now the layout that has gone back to being used in Formula One and endurance racing and the like. So it should be very, very good. Without that final chicane, it should provide some really good opportunities for overtaking coming into turn one.
In the words of Isma, why do we even have that chicane? Don't need it. This is the layout we'll be racing on today. The large and long pit straight in towards chicane of 1 and 2. Technical chicane at 7 and 8 there. And carrying speed over the crest at 9. Always a challenge, and then things are pretty flowy now in the final sector. To bring us through to the close of 4.7 kilometers here.
A very, very popular track. I mean, it's only been around since the very early 90s, and interestingly, one of 3 tracks that have been used in the Olympic Games.
Oh, don't leave us hanging. What are the other 2?
So Fuji was used in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which was in 2021 for the cycling. This was obviously back in the 92 Barcelona Olympics was used, and the other was, I believe, Silverstone was used as part of the cycling in the 60s. But don't quote me on that one, but I know that there's 3.
Okay,
I'll do my research again now.
Fantastic. Let's look at the championship standings for Pass 2. Sam Muir and Sean Lacey closed up, I think, a little bit after what we saw at Belle Isle last week. And it looks like a Muir versus Lacey showdown here at Barcelona. We've got Brown and Swanepoel very close behind, very close to each other behind in 3rd and 4th. And then Brady Buchanan, Jason Bentz, Richard Mayer, Simon Mazomo, and Stuart Brown is the top 10. This Pass 2 GT4 category, which is the first of the racing we are going to see tonight. Pro-Am we'll dive a little deeper into later on. So what are the 4 cars of Pass 2? Well, they're the Aston Martin, the Mercedes-Benz, the McLaren, and the Porsche Cayman GT4s. McLaren did pretty well for itself at Belle Isle. This can also be a pretty high average speed circuit, and it's trimmed down 1%, Porsche 0.5%, and the Mercedes, which has been sitting on 96 for a while, is back up to 96.5. Martin at 100 could also be pretty good. So we'll see exactly how that all works out in qualifying and the 2 races. For race 1, qualifying, and that's underway right now. Jockeying for a little bit of track position here, Patrick Panson. Aston Martin getting by. Jason Bentz, though, has the top of the timing at the moment from Timothy Fabian and Sean Lacey. And then Sam Muir there in 4th. So that's going to be, I think, the key point of focus tonight. Sean Lacey versus Sam Muir for the past 2 championship. And they are in very close lockstep, at least so far tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they're the two that have been most consistent throughout the season as well. We've seen some really good racing from Bents. We've seen Febin be very, very good. We've seen Mazomo come in and win races. We've seen Brady Buchanan have good pace. Jacques Swanepoel also have good pace. But Lacey and Muir, they've been the class of the field in the aspect that they've been the most consistent throughout. So looking forward to seeing how they go, but not much between them at the moment. 2.5 tenths of a second separating them for the moment. Won't take much for that to change as well.
Trying to use all of the track position there. Sean Lacey will have to improve on this one because Sam Muir has just improved. And Sean
I think
Lacey...
that lap counted. Oh.
I'm not seeing one. For Lacey, was I think finishing his second flying lap there, and he will just have time for one more. Pole is a minute 51 at the moment, and I think he would have crossed the line with about a minute 55 on the clock. So just going to sneak this one around for one more. Sean Lacey, but the drivers crossing the line right now won't. That's probably it for Hilton Booth, whether he knows it or not.
It was actually not very spread in qualifying at the moment. Everyone is on one half of the track, which is very uncharacteristic for this series. Usually see everyone spread out quite quickly, and I think for Brady Buchanan, that may have been an off track there. He may have found himself flipping a little bit too much curb and cutting the corner. He's going to continue on anyway, if he can finish the lap. Just in the background, got Sam Muir. We'll see what he can do. This lap is very, very important for him and potentially stealing the championship.
Got to have a look at some sectors. What does that tell me about how they're tracking on this
I don't think
lap?
he's going to improve on this lap. Looking, Sean Lacey is also not going to improve on this lap. I don't. We'll see in just a moment.
Yeah, this says Muir losing 10th in first sector, a 10th in the second sector, and he will pit. Pit entry will be important for race number 2, though. Fabian will carry on. Definitely drivers like Matt Hardigan and Patrick Panton we expect to improve, but that is going to be that lap gone. Lacey's sticking with it, though, and he goes purple in the final sector.
Improved his time, but won't improve his position. Panton going to make it to the line? Just, I think. Comes up very, very quickly. Right there. Does cross it just in time, improves his time, and jumps a spot.
And in the nick of time, too. So then that sets them up for the 10-minute race one. You had a quick glimpse at the graphic for that earlier, in 20 minutes with a compulsory pit stop in race number 2. So Jason Bents has the pole in the McLaren, but it's lost 1% of horsepower since it put on a very, very strong showing at Belle Isle last time out. Hang on. Yep, Timothy Fabian on that alongside on that front row. Sam Muir and Sean Lacey. It's the championship shootout on row number 2, and then Buchanan and Swanepoel behind that, and then Hilton Booth and Patrick Panton, the Aston Martins 7th and 8th. Matt Hardigan and Paul Longworth has a new livery. Douglas Gowans, Robert McGrath here 11th and 12th, and Stu Brown is the only driver with no qualifying time in that short 10-minute session. They only really got around for at best. Well, some only got around for 3 laps, some got around for 4, and we saw track limits were certainly challenging in the final corner and in some other places as well. That can be an impediment to setting a lap, because of course if you go off track, it doesn't count. Lap time deleted. So if you only have a couple tries, it's actually not that hard to go off track on 3 successive laps.
We saw how easy it was for that through that 6-7 complex, how easy it was to run wide, and then you can see one thing I haven't noticed about this layout is how the track goes wider for the old hairpin But it's still very narrow coming up into this hairpin. I'd never noticed that.
There's a couple circuits where the gridding is a little unique as well. You saw that the the rows spread a little wider as they follow the center line towards the new hairpin. But of course, there's a new hairpin that's between the new hairpin and the old hairpin now. You follow me?
Still very similar to the one that we have. Much closer to the one we have here on iRacing than the old hairpin, which was very, very tight. Actually added an extra corner into the layout as well.
So the pace car pulls in and they are right up against each other for the front row. And they are waiting on the green flag. Sean Lacey and Sam Muir are very, very eager for it as well. On the outside line, Timothy Fabian got a sneaky good start, and Jason Bentz is not entirely happy with it, and he will drop back. So realizes, oh, I might have jumped that rolling start a little bit, and Jason Bentz will go to turn 1 in the lead. Sean Lacey swoops around the outside of Sam Muir. These GT4 cars so challenging on tall tyres, and he did get in too hot. And the purple machine of Muir strikes back. Buchanan wants a little bit of it as well. So does Hilton Booth.
Timothy Fabian has a black flag for jumping the start as well, so he's overtaken before the green flag has dropped. So, we'll get a look at that in a minute, but yeah, definitely can see a black flag coming in for Timothy Fabian, and that will hurt him big time.
Doesn't even need Simrigs.com Oz Pro-Am moderators to intervene. iRacing's laid that on him. Barney's given it to him for jumping the start and being ahead on the outside line at the race start, coming to the line. So it's a clear slam dunk penalty. If you're on the outside row, on the front row, you can't be the first car to cross the line. And we've got a drama here for Douglas Gowans, and Patrick Panson is stuck in traffic.
Stuck is the best way to describe that. Patrick Panton, Douglas Gowans now right to the back of the field. Stu Brown, remember, didn't put in a qual time. He's already up in a 9th position, so he's gained a couple as the battle for the championship is on. Sam Muir back up the inside, going to steal his spot away from Sean Lacey, but it is not done yet.
Track goes back to the right. Lacey has a decent dive in, but it's not going to be a great exit. Super fast and flowing now in the final part of the lap. Starts to pitch downhill and to use all of the faster version of the layout. It's a handy little lead, with just a little wiggle coming off the final corner. Lacey sits in the slipstream. And where does Sam Muir go? Because he wants to try to follow a slipstream of Bentz if he can, but I don't think there's any being offered, and they're spreading out behind as Booth, with the Aston Martin horsepower, is having a look at Brady Buchanan. We know the Mercedes is very, very good on the brakes, more so than a lot of the other GT4 models here, and Buchanan will hold on to that one for the moment. See Chuck Swanepoel and Tim Fabian right up behind, but we know Fabian, as you see here,
oh, look how far ahead he was.
The power down. Wasn't subtle.
That's a pretty clear-cut penalty. And when iRacing issues you the penalty, you can't really dispute it because it's all automated off code, and code very rarely tells a fib.
It's rather deterministic. So if he was that far ahead again, same would happen. Booth off the circuit and losing a handful of spots, slots in behind Fabian, who will still need to serve a drive-through penalty, I believe it is.
I think it's just a drive-through, not a stop and hold, but I mean, we could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it is just a drive through the lane. But even still, in a 10-minute race, that's a big penalty. This is a mistake there for Booth. I think he just probably was a little bit too far to the left as he swung back to the right, and the car couldn't quite stabilise.
So he lost 2 positions, one to Swanepoel.
That recovery was pretty good.
That rear is super taily. Super taily for Hilton Booth. Here comes Fabian to the pit. So we'll see what he does, but it releases back. Hilton Booth.
Did he pull that up? Has to be 80 because it's the Formula 1 pit lane.
Yep. He's
He's a stop and hold though, by the looks of it.
Surprise to me, to be honest. So Bence's got a handy little lead, but there's nothing between championship competitors here, Sam Muir and Sean Lacey. And is it just a who finishes in front on the road situation? They looked oh so close on those points.
Probably more important to finish ahead for race 2 than it is for race 1. But in saying that, you still want to be ahead either way. As Lacey has a couple of technical issues. I'm about to do some maths though. Yeah, so burn out the computer. So we'll see how I go working things out. But I'll do some maths on the fly, and I'll see if I can work out exactly where things need to be. It could be disastrous with me doing maths. So
as long as it's entertaining.
But we've made all sorts of entertainment here. Considering we brought up the website for Super
Our
Cheap.
friends at Super Cheap Auto, yeah.
Mid broadcast, so I mean, there's no doubt that it will be entertaining. So P1 gets 150 points. Oh, is that right? And then 300 for P1 in race 2. So, yeah, it's still well and truly. I'll do some more.
I kind of need to know more how much second place gets.
Yeah, I'm working it all out.
31 points between Muir and Lacey in Muir's advantage. So where he sits right now, it doesn't look comfortable at the moment. But certainly that's what he'd want to do. It'd just keep him in the lead. No need for punching too many numbers into the calculator. If Muir is ahead in the championship coming in and he just finishes ahead both races, that would do it. That'd be enough.
300 for the sprint, for the main race win, and 150 for the sprint race win. But I've seen some other points also allocated as well. Just trying to work out where extra points have come from like fastest laps.
I believe there's a 0 incident bonus.
Yes.
Because we got clipped over the year by Bo Albert when we questioned his pace at the Nordschleifer, and apparently it was all about the 0 incident bonus. It's, good of him to be able to find an excuse.
That's 20 points if you do get 0 incident. So it is a very, very big addition of points if you do get that 0 incident bonus. So that's why we have seen drivers sort of try and make sure they get that bonus throughout the night. So still trying to do some sums. I've got the notepad out and all now. This is getting real messy in front of me here. The race at the front is really settled there, hasn't it? I mean, Swanepoel's looking the quickest out of the 4 in this group, but Bence is just breaking away and driving away from the field. Of course, the McLaren does have the power advantage at the moment, but it hasn't really used the power advantage throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I think the McLaren sat at 100 horsepower all season long until Bence swept the streets of Belle Isle last week. And of course, the biggest modification that can happen round to round in this championship is -1%. If he'd been in that McLaren all season long, it might be closer to where the Porsche and Mercedes are at sort of 96, 97%, or maybe just 98. It's all entertainment here over second and third, though, because Lacey cannot really get into a position to attack, but also Sam Muir cannot get away and led them left to right to left down the pit straight.
Ruffles
Picked
dropped
up a little
back.
bit of dust there. He has.
Surprised that dropped back as quickly as he did there too. So, yeah, may have just cut the track a tiny little bit, got a small slowdown and had to drop it back a tiny little bit, but he's been able to push back on again. Let's see if he can continue forward. That's 150 points for a win, 138 for second, 129 for third. and a 20-point bonus for 0 incidents. Which we, of course, won't see until the end of the night, so we really won't know who wins the championship until we get told later on in the week.
Lacey got very close at the hairpin this lap around, and there is going to be the white flag now. Bence is starting the final lap, and it's one last? What kind of accent was that for a second there? One last chance to attack for Sean Lacey on Sam Muir. And he leads them all the way to the right-hand side, and there is dirt out there. It's a great little effect. They go offline, and they are kicking up all kinds of muck. He's not close enough to attack in towards turn 1, but he's going to keep the blowtorch applied to the purple Mercedes. That's Rick Ross in tough times. The kids will get it, Jay.
Yeah, look, I didn't get it. Now, I've been quickly looking into my Olympic Games thing, and 2 Summer Olympics have been used for road racing in the Olympics, and 1 Winter Olympic venue was a Formula 1 venue. That one there, pretty obvious. Sochi.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't think they did cross-country skiing.
No, but they did use it.
It's great.
No, but they did use it for the opening and closing ceremonies and a few other events held in that.
Yeah, I mean the permanent racetrack, which is basically what it is, kind of just weaves in between all the permanent indoor sporting facilities they built for the stuff like ice hockey and all the other stuff that happens indoors in an arena. Figure skating.
Be a winter, Sam, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Checkered
flag's ready, and Jason Bence has looked so strong again. Race number 1, and he takes the win behind Muir under pressure for the whole length of the race.
Swanepoel will get a slowdown penalty on the last lap there at the last couple of corners because he dropped a huge amount of ground right at the end of the race there. I'm wondering if he got a slowdown on the last lap and may have a post-race drive-through penalty applied for not slow down. He was on the brakes right at the finish line. He dropped 3.5 seconds within the last corner.
Sort of cutting the inside of the final 2 right-handers there, maybe. Panton and Gowans crossed the line, but of great importance, Stu Brown was 10th. So we take the top 10 invert, which is a significant chunk of the grid tonight. And Jason Bence will be happy with that win, but it means he's going to have to start from 10th in race number 2. Sam Muir, Sean Lacey, Brady Buchanan, Jacques Swanepoel, Hilton Booth, Matt Hardigan, Robert McGrath, Stu Brown, Paul Longworth, and Stu Brown.
It looked like there was a penalty in there for Swanepoel, so he must have cleared that right at the end at the last possible moment. Potentially got that slowdown for cutting the second last corner a little bit too aggressively, which is very, very easy to do as well.
So Timothy Fabian has ended up last after that. So from 2nd on the grid to 13th for him. But it will be a front row of Stu Brown and Paul Longworth. You reckon they like Nando's around these parts?
Well, I think that liking Nando's would probably be blasphemy in Catalonia, would it not?
Because it's Portuguese?
Portuguese in the disputed region of Spain. It should be very anti-Portuguese, would it not? I don't know.
Maybe they'd have solidarity.
Maybe. No, I think it's the opposite. From memory, I think that this side, Catalonia side, are more siding with the French. They obviously, if you follow a little bit of world news, you'd know that they actually had a referendum to break away from Spain, which was approved and then disputed in a court, and that's why it's still part of Spain. So this area is very, very disputed and may end up being its own country in the next couple of years. World history with Jay on SimSpeed. Not that anyone needed to know that. We're rambling a lot tonight, aren't we? This is going to be very fun.
I've Googled Catalonia and Spain to try to work out what their relations are like, and it's all just a little too much for light entertainment, I think.
Very, very well well put.
Here they are, Stu Brown and Paul Longworth on the front row. They sure do. McGrath and Matt Hardigan. Did you know, if you go into the iRacing paint shop and you change your Mercedes GT4's iRacing non-trading paints paint away from the default one,
they come up properly in this graphic.
Yeah, you get wheels and windows.
Yep.
So you can see who has and hasn't done that. They're looking at the rest of our grids. Hilton Booth and Jacques Swanepoel there, but Sam Muir and Sean Lacey still going to be side by side each other on the grid. Brady Buchanan, Sean Lacey there.
Buchanan's just got a nice glow around it.
Yeah, very 2000s. Sam Muir, and there's Jason Bentz. And the drivers not benefiting from the top 10 invert, Patrick Panson and Douglas Gowans. And good luck, actually, no, I was going to say good luck jumping the start from back there, Timothy Fade, but actually the back is the best place on the grid to try to jump the start from because you can gain the most.
Well, you can almost get away with it at the back, not quite as much as at the front.
Well, between first and second level on the front row, it's very easy to see who jumped it. Behind, it's like, oh no, the guy in my row went and I just went with them. So, yeah, level between 9th and 10th is a lot harder to spot than level between first and second. Pole sitter has pretty much got to be first to the line here. Here we go. Green flag drops. Stuart Brown and Paul Longworth in their Mercedes lead the field to the start. It is super checked up. It's 3 wide. They're looking for 4 wide here. They're going to get it as Hilton Booth and Jason Bentz look to make some positions here. Bentz is around the outside. And Lacey's managed to steal a big march on Sam Muir as they come 3 wide in towards turn 1 because Jacques Swanepoel trying to get in and amongst the Nando's machines. He only gets one of them. Stuart Brown holds on to the race lead, but some massive gainers off that super congested race start. Now Swanepoel pushes out a little wide in turn 3, and Sean Lacey goes to second place, puts a heap of traffic between himself and Sam Muir.
Already up 6 spots is Lacey. That's a great start. Muir's way back in 9th. He's actually dropped ground from the start. It's huge, but Swanepoel was great off the start there, but just ran a little bit wide through turn 1. Sorry, through turn 2 and then turn 3. Not able to find any grip out wide. Lost that a couple of spots back. It's still a great start, but Bentz and Lacey, huge advantage already for them.
And a little more shuffling going on here. Muir gets a spot or 2 back off of, I think, Longworth and McGrath potentially. For the race lead, Lacey's going around the outside of Stu Brown, and he's done it because Brown's had a problem, and so is Hilton Booth as he finds a little bit of the grass and spins into the side and T-bones Longworth there. So Stu Brown, you've got a better look at the webcam. What's he got on the old PlayStation?
Looks like Carmageddon, and in the Super Nintendo, he's got Nigel Mansell's F1 Challenge, I think it was called. The first racing games I ever played on a Super Nintendo.
No one pits. Briefly had a rather frustrated look on his face. Lacey leads. Bentz has moved his way through in a second. So he's 1 spot away from clean sweeping all of this again, having started 10th on the grid. Swanepoel 3rd. Muir now suddenly up into 4th after all of this. Oh, did he get just a little wide there, Brown? And here's Muir sneaking through for 1. Must have snuck through for a whole bunch of more spots after that. Suddenly he's kind of gone from 8th to 4th. And the top 3 are not that far away from him.
Hardigan trying to make some moves as well in the 999. One more look at that. Oh, that's Gowan's big moment for him. One more look at the incident happening there. This is on board.
That's it. Hardigan has gone around. Bence is going for the race lead. And he's got it. I feel like with that hairpin, there's actually a couple of different lines. And some drivers come a little tight back to the left-hand side of the circuit early to set themselves up for the tighter right-hander that follows. And it might have been some slightly different lines through there as well. Here he is going for the race lead. We know the McLaren's got horsepower, but then he also places it very, very well, very smartly down the inside. So Lacey back to second. Swanepoel third at the minute, but here's Muir in fourth. So Muir extending his lead just a tiny bit in race number 1, but with twice as many points on the line in race number 2. It's Sean Lacey who's ahead on the road right now. Nelson Booth, that thing is
It's a bit
a
second-hand,
little
doesn't it?
rough. Yep. Just gonna get around Longworth and Brown. Here's Muir, can see third. I reckon third would do it for him, but he'd want to catch up to Lacey in second. And then what we don't know is also things that the drivers don't know. If you're sitting there in fourth, you don't have any positive confirmation about has the driver in second place got any off tracks or not. Are they going to come away with the fastest lap of the race or not? So how Muir drives and reacts to that is also a little unknown, a little in the dark.
Lots to unfold after the race finishes around the championship, isn't there? There's still lots that could happen. I guess the positive is we haven't seen them involved in any incidents that would result in stewards to have a look at that after the event. At this stage, fingers crossed that stays as it is, or as it was, I should say. Hopefully we don't see any messiness all the way till the end. Pretty good so far. But, Muir not able to close in on Jacques Swanepoel at the moment. Brady Buchanan might be able to jump in here, stir this up a little bit more.
Got a great run off the final corner. Got super close up behind Muir here as well. It's about a quarter of this racetrack is just that pit straight. In fact, it feels like a third. It's Hilton Booth finding a little bit of shade there as he goes to take his pit stop on the early side, but makes sense with the damage on the front of his Aston Martin.
It's overtake here from Timothy Fabian. Position the car, broke it very, very late. Well fought there from
Ooh.
Robert McGrath. Almost made a little bit of contact there, but Fabian through and steals the spot back up into sixth.
Didn't have a whole lot of overlap at turn 1, but kind of tricked McGrath into braking a little bit deep. So then Fabian's like, you know what, I'll take a great line through 1 and 2 that just lets me pinch you off and take the inside for turn 3. And he moves up from the very, very back of the grid solidly into the upper midfield there in 6th. Only 8 seconds away from the race lead, and I think that Porsche can be very efficient on the fuel as well and have some pretty quick stops. So he's right in for a podium still. No doubt if he gets that pit lane executed cleanly. Easier said than done here. You are now attacking the pit entry at more speed on this historic layout than you would on the chicane layout. That's your top 5 going down the pit straight.
He was just doing enough to hold on, isn't he? He's not doing too much, but he's just doing enough to stay in the draft. He may just be doing a little bit of fuel saving to potentially try and undercut at the pit stop as well.
Car doesn't really want to turn through turn 3 there, and the brake lights came on in a place that they wouldn't normally. Buchanan was on a tighter line and might have gotten to the throttle a bit earlier, but it's a pretty short little connector that brings them to turn 4. One of the places that Mercedes teammates have got to be very, very careful.
Last lap, Muir was 0.3 quicker than Swanepoel, so definitely found a little bit more pace over the last couple of laps. We hit almost the halfway point. We're halfway at the line. Means that we're not far away from seeing everyone diving into the pits.
That's where a lot of the fun starts in this race 2 for the GT4s of simrigs.com Pass 2. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Bentz breaks the lead to Lacey, because at the moment Lacey is going with him. If he wasn't, I think he'd be a lot closer to these 3rd, 4th and 5th running Mercedes catching him. So McLaren out front from Porsche, from a slew or a string of Mercedes, or maybe even a...
It's not quite a gaggle. It's not enough cars in it.
It's not quite a constellation or a galaxy either. There's not enough 3-pointed stars.
Last lap by, Lacey set his fastest lap of the race, 10th quicker than Bent, so he's closed that gap down. And again, Swanepoel lost 0.2 to Muir and Buchanan. So this battle for 3rd is getting very, very heated at the moment. Stu Brown and Paul Longworth also, I was about to say, are having a good battle, but they've just changed positions there. Longworth through. Stu Brown, unfortunately, we're not going to have him in the booth again this week. This is a bit crook, so he's going to have to jump off as soon as he's done racing. But we'll have him back in the booth for more races later on in the season. But some other things. It's been good to have his thoughts throughout the season, but this battle, oh no, teammates have come together.
You are joking me. You are. I literally said it a lap ago, guys. Genuinely, a lap ago, I said, oh man. Oh man. Now you know Max Verstappen's going to win this race.
First rule of sim racing is also the second and the third rule of sim racing is don't hit your teammate.
Stu Brown outbreaks, gets the nose down the inside and just sends his teammate out wide. Tusk.
Know that he's on camera now too, that we've shown a replay. You'll know that we're going to be talking about him. Sorry, Stu, we have to. It's just the rules.
Oh, who's on pit entry? It's your race leaders, Jason Benson, Sean Lacey. Lacey with a good entry there. He was right up behind Jason Benson. They are half a second behind each other on pit lane. Jacques Swanepoel and Brady Buchanan also pit. It's who stays out. Sam Muir into the race lead and Timothy Fabian. So Muir's probably going to be looking to overcut Swanepoel.
Well, we were thinking potentially he was saving a little bit of fuel before he was closing that gap down to Swanepoel. Has he got enough in the tank to get one extra lap? Bent away, Lacey away, Swanepoel, Buchanan away. That gap between Bentz and Lacey, I think that's extended a fair bit. It has. Much longer pit lane transit time for for Sean Lacey.
Did he shoot his box or something? Because I don't see the stop time. Yeah, look at that. Slightly shorter pit stop, pretty similar, but a lane time that's basically a second and a half more. He's either been struggled getting away from the box, or it's a little peculiar. Or he overshot it and had to reverse for 1 second.
I can confirm it is exactly as you thought.
Well, I've seen a race or two. Go, where's the pit crew? Just a little bit back there.
Saw it going to reverse, and that was enough. That could be enough to cost him the championship. That's how big that could be.
Yeah, it's down to the wire. He was ahead of Muir. He's running second. He had a chance to win this one as well, and that would be a big bag of points in the final race of the season and the final feature race, if you want to think of the 20-minute race 2 in that way. It's where the big points are on offer. Could have been a swing to his favour in the championship. He's lost about a second and a half Here come the rest of the drivers required to pit. You can see who's practiced pit entry and who hasn't.
Probably Roger and the Okayama trick.
Old Okayama. No, it's not 80 yet. It's not 80 yet. It's not 80 yet. It's 80 around the corner. See who attacks it more aggressively. And it's Buchanan and Swanepoel.
Threw you a curveball there with the wrong graphic.
That's Cam. Too clever sometimes. It's only just ahead of Fabian. Here's Lacey. Still be ahead and by a bit. They've all jumped Swanepoel. So that works for Muir to get into third. Fabian in fourth just behind. And Swanepoel in fifth. I think I said with a good pit stop. I think I said with a good pit stop, Fabian could challenge for a podium. And he's right there.
Gap between Lacey and Muir is still about as it was, 2.5, 3 seconds. So while he's been able to undercut Swanepoel and Buchanan, he hasn't been able to make any inroads in regards to time. And saying that time probably doesn't matter. It's the actual position he's in that's more important at this stage. Buchanan.
He wants to have a dig at Swanepoel, who started so strong. Remember, he almost split them down the middle in turn 1 to take the race lead from 6th on the grid. So what a start that was. But maybe his tyre's fading a little quicker than others. It's a warm-ish track at sort of 37 Celsius.
Lacey, whether that gap closes down over the next little bit. Currently 1.9 seconds. It was about 0.7 of a second coming into the pit stop. So is that enough of a gap now that Bence has broken the draft? Will he be able to drive away? Will Sam Muir be able to find more time and that he's got pressure from behind instead of being the catcher? 3 laps to go.
Fabian having a think, having a look. Championship implications, inverted commas, on that one. Fabian wants to improve his position, which would take one away from Muir. Fabian looking pretty damn racy in that Porsche. It got 0.5% of power back, didn't it? Oh, and he has another look, another dive. It scares Muir into going a little bit wide because he cannot afford to get taken out. And it's meant he was a little more polite than he otherwise would have been. No, I was wrong. It's lost 0.5%. Down at 97. But it's not really showing it. Muir manages to hold on. I think Fabian realised his dive was optimistic and it would have been very much a dive bomb to take that move as well. Close enough to keep Muir driving in the mirrors.
Definitely in the mirrors at the moment, isn't he? He's really worrying about what's going on behind. You can see just in the background there, Swanepoel defensive into turn 10, has a huge slide. He gets the power down, and here comes Buchanan to potentially steal that spot.
Buchanan gets along side by side, but then around the outside. You're gonna run out of room. It's one of the places you got to respect where the curbs are, where the white line is. Otherwise, it's a slowdown for cutting the course. And Swanepoel got oh so close, like we think he might have done on the final lap of race number 1. So he knows where the limit is. He's ratcheting it up, takes the fastest lap of the race. He's looking to clean sweep 2 races in a row.
You can see it all too often. We have seen it, but not happen that many times throughout the series. Pence's look very, very strong, obviously with the advantage of the McLaren. He even looked like he wanted to get that move done, but just couldn't quite do it. And Lacey's lost a heap of ground at the start of this lap as well, so his technical issues could be starting to cause some dramas for him.
Or his fuel even. No white flag that time around. There's one more after this lap. And here he goes, Fabian, looking again, same corner, again, similar result, not close enough. Mercedes gets reasonable enough traction off the outside there. Fabian is hunting around increasingly more desperately for the third place. I don't know if Muir still wins this championship if he just rolls over and gives it up.
I don't think he does. I don't think he wins it if he gives up the spot. I think he needs to hold this spot to ensure that he's got enough to win the championship.
Cannon having a look. Oh, so defensive from Swanepoel. Again, down the inside.
Oh,
Fabian's here. He's up the inside. He's ahead. And he's in the third place. He takes points away from championship leader Sam Muir. And he puts another car between Lacey and Muir to send this championship down to the wire on the final lap.
Our way, it's getting very, very heated. 1 lap to go. Muir needs his spot back. Lacey can probably just chill, make sure he brings the car home. He's got 4 seconds ahead, but Muir needs to do everything to get this spot. What a last lap we've got for the championship.
It's Bence, it's Lacey, it's Fabian, it's Muir, and with the big points on the line, Lacey is going to claw some back, and he's going to claw more back, and he'll know about what's happening behind as well. And Swanepoel looks to defend. Buchanan almost runs him off the road on the outside of one. Got a little wide, and they almost touched, and Buchanan is going to get, I think, a little more aggressive on this final lap. You have your cautious and your probative looks throughout the rest of the race, but the white flag waves and the blood pressure rises.
We legitimately have no idea who's going to win this championship. Legitimately no idea at all. How good. This is what you want in a championship, to literally come down to the last lap of the last race of the season.
Absolutely. I'm not seeing any fight from Sam Muir to be able to take that one back. The slipstreams looked pretty strong for these cars that have all got a little bit of power trimmed off here and there around a relatively average high-speed circuit. Well out wide off the exit there. Buchanan wants to get a good run over the top of the hill, and he's alongside Swanepoel. Can he go round the outside on the final lap? He'll try to have a little squeeze. He'll try to hold the high ground, but there's no grip there. Swanepoel gets the drive, and it doesn't let Buchanan get to the inside of the next corner. The checkered flag is ready. Jason Bence is going to take the win when he comes out of the final corner. Lacey will close up the championship with a second, but is it enough? Fabian in third there splits them to put Muir a couple points back. Muir looks pretty happy with it, and Swanepoel holds on from Buchanan.
Calculator is grinding. I can tell you that right now. It's very, very tight. We'll see what we can work out. Get some quick.
We don't need sleep. We don't need graphics. We need answers, Jay Kennedy.
We do. I'm working on it.
Wow, what a great race, though. Super close across all the GT4 marks. And it came down to that final lap in some of the battles, but also potentially for the championship at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. What we do know is the race results. Jason Bence with the broom out, sweeping the streets of Belle Isle, now sweeping the circuits of Barcelona. Had a Lacey and Fabian on the podium there. Muir back in fourth. Swanepoel, Buchanan, Hansen, Booth, McGrath, and Hardigan as the top 10 there. Stuart Brown, after whacking into his teammate, comes 11th. Gowans in the early damaged Porsche in 12th, and Longworth 13th. There it is.
Sorry,
Drum roll. No, I can hear the gears turning, and we all want to know, so you do the Lord's work. I'm listening intently to the radio as well.
Hopefully they can, because my maths brain is not working. Tell you what, sleep deprivation. as Lacey. 2 points behind, but we don't know about the 20-point bonuses for 0 incidents. So I'm gonna see if I can quickly get that. We need to decide someone to get the $20. For me, I'm about to put a message in for you.
I'm not going to read it until I've made my own thoughts. Yeah, we're in agreement, Jay.
Okay.
We're in agreement. Fire it up on the graphic, because for the final time this season in Pass 2, we've got to give out the Super Cheap Auto Make It Super Award. And for driving from the rear of the grid in Race 2, not jumping the start, making a great pit stop, a great strategy, and coming through to a podium, and also putting a little bit of peri-peri spice on the championship, $20 Super Cheap Auto gift card is heading to Tim Fabian.
Yeah, well deserved. Well driven to come back through the field. Remember, he qualified in second, and that stop and hold put him at the back of the field. Without that, who knows where we might have seen him. The pace he had, he might have been quick enough, maybe win the whole night. So unfortunate way to start the night, but I'll tell you what, he finished.
He's very, very eager to try to win the whole night, and a little too eager off the race start of race number 1. I haven't had a look at the catalogue for this week, but I'm sure.
I found something that I think I need to get, and I'll bring that up after we go to our break, but I found some stuff that maybe I might need to get.
Fantastic race, fantastic championship battle. Waiting on the confirmation on that one, but I think overall it looked pretty good from Sam Muir. He drove with a level head, just tried to bank those points, and got a little bit of a head start on his 31 points lead coming in. And we'll see if he did enough. He certainly looked like he thought he did. Let's thank the sponsors, go to a break, and get ready for the GT3s. So it's simrigs.com, Exodus Racing, Super Cheap Auto, Echuca Toyota, and Index Designs, making the broadcast in the championship possible. And there are just 2 more races for this season, and the decider in GT3.
So you do like it?
I love it, yeah.
Now when you go pre-owned, you can enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota. Tested and backed by Toyota.
Upgrade your car, mate.
This? Yeah, no big deal.
Toyota certified. Pre-owned in a class of its own. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.
Reading about the World of Outlaws game recently. It's coming to Nintendo Switch soon as well. It's a season 2023 update. I haven't not played it, but it looks good, and lots of people who have are still playing it according to the usage stats. We're coming into a season championship decider for the simrinks.com Oz Pro and Sim series here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Circuit that was meant to be earlier in the calendar. That didn't happen. Shades of Imola, methinks, potentially there. So, 2 races once again, but this time in the GT3 cars. There's more of them, and there's 2 championships to keep our eye on. The Pro and the AM.
Which one do you want first?
AM.
AM, easy, I can do that. I'll put it on screen for you right about. Click the button. Now.
And it's close up the top for the championship between Nick Wood and Brandon Groach, but both of them in the BMW M4 GT3. Balance of performance is going to be no excuse at the end of this one. Only a couple of points in that. And then Harry Lawrence, Jeffrey Wang, Sam Lehman, David Bads, Ben Jeffrey, Sebastian Vandel, Ben Pollock, and Adam Jepson complete the top 10 in that championship. In Pro, I think it's
tight, I can tell you that.
Okay. You can tell me by clicking the button, Jay.
Yeah, I've had the wrong one loaded. I'm sorry. Here we go. Got it.
Bo Albert from Lachlan Capel. 103 points there with a little over 450 on offer then.
Big thing is Bo Albert has 0 drop rounds, so whatever he scores here tonight counts, whereas the other guys have drop rounds in hand, so it could swing the championship a little bit if Bo Albert has a shocker.
Or just a middle of the road performance.
Yeah, middle race, middle paced race. So Jeff Connell's worst race is 194 points, so his worst round will definitely disappear if he has an okay result tonight. Lachlan Capel's worst is 164, so that'll disappear as well. So that's automatic points boosts for those guys, regardless of what Bo Albert does in this race. So he really does have it all to play for, and he has to work very, very hard. The other thing is he doesn't have the balance of performance advantage like he had earlier in the championship as well, because it has come back against him as we approach the end of the championship.
Ferrari was on 100% power for a bit, then 99, then 98, now 97. The Audi, I think a pretty good car around this track sometimes. It's at 99.5% power. BMW there at 98.5 for our AM class championship. 99 for the Mercedes. Porsche gets a little bit back. A car that's always good on the brakes and good on the fuel as well. Lamborghini, 96% power. A little surprise to me. I don't think we've ever seen the Huracan look especially massively dominant, but it's based on
been the most
results
popular.
and stats. So, there's no arguing with the balance of performance, just arguing with who's driving which cars, are they representative. Lachlan Capel has the pole alongside Bo Albert. It is a championship shootout on the front row. And then John Merritt and Tyson Broad are row number 2. Behind that, Adam Funslow and Christopher Henn. Told you the Audis could go all
5
right
manufacturers
here.
in the top 5.
You love it. Teammates Hasler and Grosch, were they not inseparable at Belle Isle a week ago as well?
They stuck together the whole way through the night, didn't they?
Joshua Fitch and Nick Wood. That's a good start for his championship there inside of 10th. Hamish Cleland and Jordan Peter. Luke Fitt, Sam Lehman. Is the Porsche the same as the Mercedes with regards to if you want your car to look right on this graphic, you can do something about it?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you need to do, but I think it's the same as we saw with the GT4. Change your base paint with shop.
And we had Stanley, Schwecke, Wang, Jeffrey, Jepson, Brookfield. David Baz had no qualifying time. Well, clouds come across part of the track. It was so hot for GT4 in Pass 2. We move a little later into the afternoon. A little bit of cloud comes off, and it's 24 Celsius instead of about 40 on track. 2 races now for Pro-Am. Again, 10 minutes for race number 1, 40 minutes. And a lot of pit strategy to be expected for race number 2. No Connell.
Oh, that's going to end his potential run at the championship. So it does come down to the 2. I can confirm that they are also sitting in Discord together, chatting between each other. So saying that Bo's also muted. So he might be taking it a little bit more serious than Lachlan. Capel was trying his hardest to win this championship, though. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the battle goes between these two after these next 50 minutes of racing.
Capel's got the pole. He holds the pace car speed, waiting on Barney's green flag. And there it is. Who gets a good reaction? Bo Albert does. I bet you he practiced exactly where the green flag drops this circuit and then had to wipe the sweat off his brow. They are so compressed as the field goes down towards turn 1 for the first time on the cold GT3 tyres. John Merritt from behind has to roll out of it a little bit earlier. But yeah, Tyson Broad has a good run at it, looks for 2nd place, but in the inside of turn 3, Lachlan Capel will hold on to it in the Lamborghini, he thinks, and Broad goes around and spun broadside.
Well done. Great pun. Other than that, everyone did a great job to avoid him, but I think that was just pushing too hard from the start there. Didn't have any grip left at the end. Unfortunate for him, but he got back through the field. Keep it off the wall, did keep it out of other cars' ways. Continue on. A good jump at the front for Albert, but Capel is stuck with him.
And that side-by-side between Merritt and Broad's created a little bit of a gap, a little bit of fresh air behind them. Now Stanley is around. Our AM championship contenders have got to make sure they avoid that, and they do. And one of the ILEC cars of Christopher Henn also having problems at that pinch point through the chicane at the bottom of the hill.
Going to get through the rest of the lap A-OK at the front. They look like they're okay. But Hasler's looking very, very pacey here, and he's doing a good job of bringing Brandon Grosch along with him. Those two have broken a little bit of a gap to Nick Wood.
No black flags and no meatballs after turn 1 so far. There's just a little dig of the gravel from Scott Hasler. Car number 2, his teammate in car 22. And Hamish Cleland not in car 222. Schwecke under attack from Jeffrey Wang, I think it was back there. It's Hamish Cleland. 8th in Pro, 10th outright. Points are scored on class and not based on outright as well. So wherever you are in the outright standings, if you're the AM winner, your winner's points. So two different ways you could score it. Each have their merits.
He's in third.
No, I realised, and then I was like, nah.
I had to steal it. I had to
easy.
steal it. You've had some good ones tonight, so I had to try and take one while I could. Yeah, we actually see that other way of scoring fast points in AOG Porsche Cup, and as you said, they have their pros and their cons, or their pros and their AMs. But yeah, I don't like one over the other. I think they're both really good formats, and I don't think there is a preference in which way is better. I like both, so I think for this series it has worked really, really well to have it in this format.
Congestion, and Adam Jepson gets a tiny tag as they were too wide and too deep in the middle of the field there, going through one of the right-hand hairpins. He's on the rallycross track there as he then eventually gets back on circuit. It was all around Jeffrey Wang, Ben Jeffrey, Sam Lehman, etc. And now there's more dramas at turn 1, and the 2 gets helped around by Fitz. Hazzler ends up in the gravel of turn 2. Contacts with the 59 of Joshua Fitt.
That in just a second, but we've got a little bit to dissect. That first lap we didn't really have too much to look at, but made up for it in lap 2 and the start of lap 3.
This was the group. Oh, no, sorry. They touched behind and didn't spin. He wasn't touched and did. So, makes sense of that. Teammates are side by side elsewhere. I think it's Wang and Lehman. And as they do that, Tyson Broad wants to sneak 3 wide at turn 9. Oh. I don't know about the replay. I'll replay what I was just calling live.
Get there. Oh wow, I see where we're going. We need to replay this for sure.
As we do that, Sam Lehman
Oh,
is
no.
sideways spun around and he's lost all that fight, and it happens again between Mercedes. Both of them clout the wall. That looks like
And Jeffrey and Luke
yeah.
Fitt.
This is the race lead, nothing to separate them. 4 minutes left in this race, and it is all happening at Barcelona. This is teammates here. They go side by side through the chicane. They check each other up. Tyson Broad says, well, I've got to run, and I can get to the inside. 3 wide, he does it. Squeezes them up a bit high. And, of course, going 3 wide checked them up. So then here comes that Mercedes. Looking around the outside. Makes it 2 wide there. And somewhere through all of it, Joshua Fitt gets an idea to get down the inside. Lehman just loses it.
That's how it started. That's how this incident happened, was from the spin.
Kind of comes across on the car on the outside, if I'm honest. Albert still leads.
Have fun,
Capel in
stewards.
second. So if they finish 1-2 and then 1-2 in both races,
Should be enough for Albert to win.
yeah.
Capel really needs a poor result for Albert in the next race and to win the next race. But well, little mistakes like that will help, because that may have just cost Bo Albert the 0 incident point bonus as well. So I know that Capel can't get it. Now I can confirm that Bo Albert can't get that bonus as well.
Do you drop incident point bonuses from your best round?
Well, it just goes as a best round result, so that gets
Okay.
added to your best round score.
Okay. You can see why I'd question it. Like, is it a bonus that gets tacked on top of the round, or is it a bonus that's counted within each round?
It's counted within the round.
Someone smarter than us has a good spreadsheet of that, I'm sure.
Oh, I have access to the spreadsheet, and it is absolutely mind-blowing. That's why it took me a little while to try and work it out, because so many numbers and numbers getting cross-referenced things. That's why it took me a little while to work out the past 2 results. We got there in the end. I think about a 35-point win in the end to Sam Muir. But how good was that, to battle all the way to the end and not know who's won the championship right at the end of the race? Is always a great, great sign.
And if we're sitting here with, pen on paper, looking at a spreadsheet, etc., the drivers in the race don't know. They've just got to fight like hell for everything they can get and hope it puts them in good place. We're going to get one more lap in this race 1. Big moment putting the power down, even though it's a reduced power for Bo Albert. And then this also sets us our grid for race number 2 with the top 10 invert. Richard Brookfield currently sits in 10th, but he's in battle with Tyson Broad, who I think would very much like to get inside of that top 10. Straight go the leaders. The slipstream's good for Capel, but here's Broad thinking, 10th outright would do me good.
What's that 8th and 9th you see on the graphic is their class position, but yeah, as you said, 10th outright, where the reverse is.
Broad thought about it, put back in line, thought about it again. Now trying to go over under through 1 and 2, take a wider entry to get more speed through turn 3, which is not flat out in these cars. Definitely wasn't flat out in GT4 cars. You saw brake lights to try to dab a little bit of rotation in the mid corner. Up front, Albert under all sorts of pressure. Capel moving around, and Merritt's on the back of all of them as well. Up the hill, what's the run like for Capel? Not good enough to put pressure on here, but where do you pass on the final lap? It's got to be at the end of this straight, and he doesn't get a great run through the quick right-hander over the hill.
Hasn't got enough momentum, has he? He's just not quite there. Will not get through, so Albert will hold on for now. Jordan Peters got an issue, and he's had to slow down the straight. He may have had a slowdown. Had to clear it right at the end, but front of the field, looks like Albert might do enough, and Brandon Groach has got a massive margin that he should be able to hold on for the AM win, but Capel got something to steal something at the end. He's close.
You want to give it all, but you also can't push out wide in that corner. Bo Albert takes the win in race number 1 from Capel and Merritt. AM winner will be Brandon Grosh, which is great for his championship, up against Nick Wood, who finishes in 2nd. We cannot forget about that. Tyson Broad did get past Richard Brookfield and gets 10th place. Call it a pole position transfer spot if you want. And that could be an incident point there for Christopher Henn behind Scott Hazeler. Oh boy, well, this is it. Albert from Capel and Merritt all within half a second at the finish there. Adam Fonslow is in 4th. Brandon Grosh and Nick Wood in the AM battle, signified by the blue numbers. 1st and 2nd in class. Nick Wood with a very slender lead over Grosh as they came into this round. That one will go down to the wire as well in race number 2, 40 minutes. Coming up after we invert that top 10 that was completed by...
Broad.
Look at it over here. Yeah, but before Broad, Joshua Fitt, Jordan Peter, and Hamish
I
Cleland.
apologise. I flicked too early for you. I'm sorry. I was actually looking at the Super Cheap Auto catalogue. That's what caught me off guard there.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. And yeah, everyone else in the finishing order here. Richard Brookfield, Jeffrey Wang, Brady Standley, Colin Schwecke, Scott Hazeler, Christopher Henn. Some drivers we might expect to see come a bit further through the field here as well. Sam Lehman, Adam Jepson, and Luke Fitt, Ben Jeffrey. Didn't see David Baz. Go to a little break here as they get ready for 40 minutes of GT3 racing at Barcelona to put a sunset on this circuit and on this season of SimRigs.com Oz Pro-Am Sim Series.
you do like it. I love it, yeah.
Now when you go pre-owned, you can enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota. Tested and backed by Toyota.
Upgrade your car, mate.
This? Yeah, no big deal.
Toyota certified. Pre-owned in a class of its own. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's time now to see who will be the season champion for simregs.com Oz Pro Am Sim Series. Bo Albert keeps it on the road. I think it's his, but Lachlan Capel, his best championship challenger, is right with him in race number 1. Starts ahead of him on the grid for race number 2. And they have a reverse grid to negotiate, which will make all of the little bits challenging. And of course, all season long, big thanks to simrigs.com, Exodus Racing, Super Cheap Auto, Echuca Toyota, and Index Designs on board. There are a lot of parts of this reverse top 10 that could make things really challenging for Capel, Albert, and Merritt. And we have the very last Make It Super award to give out. So what can $20 of gift voucher get you from your local Super Cheap Auto or online? Well, you could get a couple Cabin Crew Kids Little Racer onboard t-shirt signed blue. So I guess that's got a suction cup. You'd stick it in your rear window.
That's actually very cute.
And Little Racer on board. And this is my pick. For $9, you can get yourself a last season's Red Bull Ampol Racing lanyard. And I picked it just on account of how great that pose is from this fella in picture number 2.
I can't click it and bring it up on screen, that picture number 2. But it's worth looking at the website just for that picture.
And very handily, the fantastic people of Super Cheap Auto, you know they watch simrigs.com Oz Pro Am Sim Series, because the last couple of rounds we've done this, we've had a look, what does $20 get you? Now you go to the homepage, you scroll a tiny bit, the clearance event, there's an under $20 basket, so whoever gets it, that voucher, that Make It Super award, will have no trouble picking out what they want. Neither will Timothy Fabian, who took the Pass 2 award just earlier.
There it is. $20 right on the home screen. Ben's has got $40 to spend after last week, though.
Well, he could get that car seat cover. It looks real fluffy.
It did.
Great. We've got 40 minutes of racing. We're expecting 2 pit stops. So pit entry. Who's practiced it? Who's confident with it? They're going to need to know, and they're going to need to not overshoot their pit box as well. Tyson Broad has the pole, and he is doing that 80 k's an hour just to get them towards the green flag. They all should know approximately where it drops now after race number 1 as well. On the front row with him, Hamish Cleland. They roar into life for the last time. Down the long pit straight towards the braking zone at turn number 1. John Merritt's in the middle there, 3 wide in a precarious position. He has to roll out of the throttle a little bit early. And I think Bo Albert's got a better run through that traffic than Capel has managed to. He's sandwiched 3 wide. They're all sandwiched 3 wide off of turn 2. It's always going to be a little touch and go when we have the reverse top 10 in a 20-car field. Everyone trying as best they can to navigate turns 1, 2, and 3 cleanly. And John Merritt has done very well for himself, 3 positions gained so far.
Yeah, Merritt's been a big mover. Brady Stanley at the back is around. There's contact between he and Ben Jeffrey. Luke Fitter started from the pit lane. He's missed the start as well. So, interesting there. But Albert and Capel not able to make inroads like I was expecting. Merritt, as you said, the only one from the front that really has made big inroads at the moment. Oh, Wang.
Is that ever a penalty to start from pit lane?
Don't know, is it?
I don't know, is it? I don't think so.
I think it is in this series, no.
It was in that late, that incident late on.
Unless it's a self penalty.
Race 1, but it didn't. I mean, my view of it, I wasn't putting it on him. It's one of the Porsches still. They've got a little bit of power back to gain. I think the Porsche kind of comes into its element in these longer races as well. Typically pretty good on the worn tyres, pretty good on the fuel, pretty good on the brakes. So we'll see. So I reckon a 40-minute race definitely favours a Porsche 911 GT3R a little bit better than a 10-minute sprint race does. And the AM battle, do not forget it. Groch took a little bit back. Reverse top 10. Nick Wood starts ahead of him now in race number 2. And after 1 lap, that's still where they are. Christopher Hen's the big mover. 16th to 11th on this opening lap.
Yeah, up 4 spots in class, up 6 spots outright. That's a great start from him. Wood and Groch is a very, very interesting battle, and they've been really competitive against each other all season long, which is great to see. Groch really needs this race win and probably needs Nick Wood to drop a couple more positions before that championship does change hands. Tyson Broad's broken away at the front. Jordan Peter gets through, and Hamish Cleland. Here comes Fit, and here comes Merritt. This is going to be interesting into the hairpin.
Yeah, from a long way back, the Ferrari knows a Fit has a look, but second and third both go out a little bit wide. You've got to get to the inside of the next right-hander to make that move work, though, and it's just a car width to slot back in, but Merritt closes that door off and probably had rights to the inside there, had to back out of it just a little bit to not turn Joshua Fit.
Something happened at the back of the field here between...
Broad's got to slow down.
Oh, no.
Oh, he looks down the inside. The door gets closed on him. He doesn't want to be the bad guy, and he instead has a bit of a problem. His Broad dropping back with slowdown, which is the furled black flag, and he's getting swamped in 1 and 2.
And confirm where that slowdown has come from as well.
Race lead goes to Jordan Peter. Hamish Cleland also gets through. Joshua Fit gets through. Merritt wanted some of it and couldn't get it. Yeah, that'll do it. You can't park there.
Mate, got to have at least 2 wheels over that white line. Get all 4 wheels cutting that white line at the curb there. It is a slowdown penalty, and you have to give up time. And Tyson Broad gave up a lot of it. Gives away the lead in the process. Back to 4th. That's a huge penalty for him. Considering he had a 1.5 second lead too.
If he was more Broad, he'd had his left-hand side tyres inside the track.
Oh, you're right on it today, aren't you? I'm loving the pun game going on here.
I've got, I'm drinking stronger coffee these days. Here's a big dive from Merritt. He looked strong here earlier, but again, you've got to get all the way clear and ahead before the track slots back to the right-hander, and he's done it. So, good move in a corner that can be tricky to do it. And also parks it a little bit in the mid-corner. He's going well. Not a lot of progress from Albert and Capel, but Albert has gotten ahead of Capel in 8th and 9th here. Both of them are still thinking about the long game in this race with 2 pit stops to go, with the fuel strategy and with that juicy little bonus you get for 0 incident points.
Well, so we don't know whether... I'm 95% sure that neither of them got that bonus in race 1. Here we go. Chance for a change of the lead. Groach up the inside in our AM class, and that is a lead change. Brendan Groach takes the lead in AM.
They were so close coming into this round as well, with Wood as the points leader. Now in both races, Groach is ahead. So I think that one's going to need visiting for sure. And behind them is the Pro Battle. Albert just trying to hold his position, hold his place, drive cautiously and defensively. Capel right in his mirrors.
Watch out, I've got the pen and paper back out again.
Okay, good. Just click on a John Merritt before you do too many sums, because I think he's in a mood to make a couple more spots. He's in 4th now. We saw him pick off Tyson Broad very, very cleanly at this part of the track a lap ago. Now he's getting closer to fit Cleland and Jordan Peter as well. So he's definitely a man to watch, making some early moves. Made some big moves off the race start, and then he's been a little more surgical and precise since then. Tyson Broad still wants to play chicken with the track limits at the penultimate corner. The only flag being displayed out on track is the meatball to Adam Jepson.
That was for that hit into the wall we saw earlier. John Merritt, fastest lap of the race too. You said he was looking to make a move. Owen's also looking very quick here too, applying the pressure to Jordan Peter at the moment.
Yeah, I think ever since Tyson Broad had that slowdown, it's really brought this fight together. 2nd catching 1st, 3rd catching 2nd, 4th catching 3rd. Cleland wants a look down the inside at turn 4. Track opens up a little bit on the exit of this one. It's kind of like Parabolica at Monza. Then into a much tighter left-hander immediately afterwards, where Peter can cover it off. Middle part of the lap. And the slower corners, I reckon, is Porsche territory. Fast bits a little more to the BMW's liking. Merritt's get a great run up the hill. What he needs is a great run in the off-camber quick corner at the top of the hill here. And will he have a look where he did 2 laps ago? He will. Just gets the nose in before the turn-in point. So he's entitled to the inside of the corner. And then the Ferrari has a little bit of a wiggle. No contact from what I could tell. Merritt up into 3rd. Absolutely surgical.
One thing that has let John Merritt down this season has been his pit stops. So fingers crossed for him. He has a very, very successful one and can nail the stop tonight. Speaking of stops, here comes Hamish Cleland into the pits. Now this is probably a lap, maybe even 2 laps earlier than we were expecting anyone to come in.
Well, we know for absolute certainty all of them can do at least 10 minutes. So there's at least at minimum one more if they were looking for it. They might have been thinking, nope, I'm not about this traffic. Passing is looking a little bit difficult at Barcelona. No one ever says that about this track. They're always like, oh yeah, great racing, easy passes.
I'm pretty sure people
rather
do say
sarcastically. That. Yeah, so maybe getting out of that traffic is a good way to go, especially if you're after that no incident point bonus. Ferrari looking a little squirrely. Broad wants some spots back. Track goes to the left in the next corner, though, so Broad needs to get across to cover that one with his new advantage. And he does. 3rd place.
Jordan Peter's taken advantage of that little bit of time gain from the pit stop there of Hamish Cleland as well. He's got nearly a 2nd to John Merritt, but Merritt will use that draft advantage down these straights here, so that will close down relatively quickly. But he'll enjoy the lap of no pressure from behind and not have to worry about looking in that rear vision mirror.
Just noticing you can get a lot of 10mm sockets for $20.
Yeah, but what's the point of getting a 10mm socket when you're going to lose it in 4 seconds?
If you get lots at once, does that mean you'll just lose them quicker?
Yeah, you just lose them easier, I think. I have seen a meme video where someone buys a bucket of 10mm sockets and then turns around and the bucket's empty.
Bo Albert going for pit lane. Most of the other drivers staying out, so they've got one more in, but Albert says, I want to get out of that, maybe look for a little bit of an undercut. Christopher Hand also stops. So strategy-wise, that's a decision that they've made, as well as Cleland and Funslow last lap. Looking at the AM battle, there was nothing in it coming into this, Jay.
Absolutely nothing. And my quick maths, so that's a long stop for Bo Albert, by the way. My quick maths says it's 35 points before this round. Before this race, sorry. An 12-point advantage back in Brandon Grotch's favour, but this race would be 24 points in favour of Grotch at this stage. So we don't know about those 20-point bonuses for no incident points yet either. If it finishes in this order and Grotch gets one 20-point bonus and Nick Wood gets neither of the races a 20-point bonus, he would win by, I think, it's 6 points. So this is impressive how close this is coming down to, like the wire that it's coming down to. I don't know who's going to win it, and I don't think we will know 100% for sure who's going to have won this championship tonight. I think it's going to come right down to count back and potentially still be decided when the calculators come out later on in the evening.
So if there's a 24-point difference between finishing first and second, and 20 points for the no incident, Merritt, has he missed the lane? Merritt's missed the lane. John Merritt. Or he's been caught in between in two minds, or he's had a slowdown, something. It's going to be so costly there for John Merritt. Capel's still out as well, so what happened for Merritt? Okay, he's in behind Peter.
Peter
goes for the lane. Merritt, I think he's coming too hot. That's got to be in too hot.
Yep. Well, and has he got enough fuel to bring it back around?
Well, Capel had enough for one more.
Capel was also stuck in the rear vision mirror of Bo Albert saving fuel.
So I reckon you're going to see that Merritt probably has 0.7 laps on board, and he's going to be a very, very slow in-lap here. But I reckon he will make it. It's not optimal, but I reckon he'll make it. How close do you want it?
Brandon Groves
Bo
got a
Albert,
big advantage.
he's in a whole heap of traffic here. Sandwiched amongst Brandon Grosh. He's between the AM class battle here with Grosh and Nick Wood. Wood's done well for himself through that pit stop there as well. Maintained a good bit of track position.
Nick Wood doesn't have too much an advantage over Jeffrey Wang. There's Wang. So, as Jordan Peter and Hamish Cleland from the effective race lead come together.
Yeah, Peter was the race leader. He's taken his pit stop on the outlap here. Dramas at turn 5. And this isn't looking great for the undercut for Bo Albert. He's in all of this traffic while Lachlan Capel has a clean lap. 2 clean laps, in fact.
Merritt's out of fuel.
Tried to do an undercut. Here we go. So Peter's a bit wide. Wants to come back to a late apex. And the BMW wants to squeeze in there if he can. Merritt. It's downhill from here.
I feel like this is on me.
Physically.
I feel like this is on me. Remember I said...
He always has bad pit stops.
He always has bad pit stops. Hopefully he has a good one tonight. And, yeah. Sorry, John.
He's the last car on track that needs to stop. I was wondering if someone else was going to barrel into that lane and decide to bump draft into his pit stall or something. But no, Capel, Lehman, and Jeffrey are all in the lane ahead. Where does Lachlan Capel rejoin? There's an absolute gaggle on track, and he's going to be behind it all. He's going to be right in the thick of it. He took a pretty long stop. I'd consider a short fuel, and he crashes on the pit exit. He's too hot in turn 1, and he drills the side of some of them, and he clearly hands the championship to Bo Albert.
Wow, that's huge. Huge mistake, a huge error. That, as you said, probably has cost any chance of the championship. Lachlan Capel.
pit exit towards turn 1. He drills in hot, he locks up, he understeers, and he just nails the side of whatever BMW that was. I'm guessing.
I think it was Hasler.
Yeah, it was Hasler.
Hasler?
Mm,
Oh, it was, what do you want? It was it? Hamish Cleland.
Joshua Fitt's gone into the wall, top of the hill. But this is it. Side by side there. Just in too hot. It's a different braking marker for when you're coming from the pit lane speed limit versus when you're on the normal racing line. He's thought, okay, I've come off of pit lane. I can brake a little deeper. But he has measured it wrong and just plain sent the bowling ball down the alley and knocked over one pin. Here's the Ferrari looking a little loose as it comes over the off-camber curb. Always wants to set the car a little loose, and then you catch the curbing on the exit, and all that combines to making a pretty sad Ferrari.
Eric got into the pits and got into his box without having to use tow button, so he's back out on track, but long way back. Fastest lap goes to Jordan Peter.
Give us the lane and stop times again, right? Because for Broad, for example, he had Broad's lane time, who's currently the race leader, was 19 seconds longer than his stop time. Merritt's lane time,
65 seconds longer.
Yeah, so he lost another 40 seconds, probably inching it to where his pit
pushing
crew
the starter
were.
to get up to the pit crew.
That's a pro strategy. Keep it in gear, hit the starter, just gives you that little push you need. Don't recommend it in your road car so much, but if you do it, tell the crew, they'll chuck a new starter motor in for the next race. She'll be good. They're chucking gearboxes every 5,000 kilometers or whatever, so you probably replace a starter motor every 5,000 if you need to.
I get the feeling that Nick Wood is a little concerned right now. Because he's got Jeffrey Wang closing in at a fairly rapid rate. Last lap by, Wang was 1.5 seconds quicker. Jeffrey Wang isn't out of stealing a second position here in the AM class.
They stopped the same as well. So, Nick Wood. That could decide it here. I think it's looking good for Brandon Grosh at the moment. But, in fact, Grosh has got 6 cars between himself and Nick Wood. Bo Albert, Scott Hasler, Hamish Cleland, Adam Funslow, Christopher Henn. That's 5.
Try that again. There we go. 4.5 second advantage too. That's huge. It was nose to tail at the pit stops pretty much when we saw them come in. Wasn't too much longer of a pit stop for Nick Wood either, so it surprises me that this gap is so big.
Looking at alternators and starters on the Super Cheap Auto website.
Get one for $20.
Fortunately not. No.
I mean, you'll use a $20 discount off it though, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
Albert's closing the gap down to our race leader, Tyson Broad. I mean, it's not amazing the pace difference at the moment, but it is enough that Broad may be starting to feel like, hey, I might get chased down here, but he's doing a very, very good job at the moment is Broad. I say Scott Hasler, he's doing a very, very good job in this race as well. He's up 9 positions in class. So he started 12th in class, now in 3rd. Absolutely brilliant.
$20 will get you a tough cut mower starter cord though.
Well, you need one of those.
Got to replace the starter cord on your mower. It's $449, easy. You would need a very, very long throw to be able to hand start any of these motors. Ferrari might burn as much oil though. Still another pit stop to go in this race though, and we often get this little bit of, you know, some of the drivers who stop kind of early in the first phase have got to make it up again in the second pit stop and take more fuel at the second stop. Hasler had a pretty short first run through the lane, so did Hamish Cleland, so they might be looking at longer stops in the second one, but Broad looked like he had a pretty good stop. He leads the way and quite tidily.
Going back to that incident we saw earlier, this is onboard Bo Albert, and you'll see the incident we're talking about here. There's one car, and there goes the other. That's the two that we saw. Would have been a little bit scary for Albert as he's driving down the straight there and as he's getting out of that corner, seeing another car on the inside trying to do a 180 to get the car straightened up. Always nervous when you see that because you never know whether they're going to spin back around in front of you or have a bigger issue as they rejoin the circuit. So it can be a little nerve-wracking, that.
Adam Funslow, it's for position. He's got a little more fuel on board than Hamish Cleland. He's got his teammate Christopher Hen behind, and he's having a little look, having a here and there. Audi got a tiny bit more horsepower, so that can help him. I want to just chew. No, it's green actually
down too. How close Jeffrey Wang is to Nick Wood now.
Wood's in this train and he's in the traffic, and Wang is hitching to the back of it.
Was it last time we looked? About 1.5 odd seconds. Now down to 0.6 and closing quickly.
Now, Jay, I sent you something that $20 will get you on the Super Cheap Auto site. Did you?
Yes, I did see that one. I'll put it up on screen when we get to the next round of pit stops. I've seen that one, and I think that's. I mean, you got change.
I love it. I love it. Sorry, I think it's super.
Pop it up on screen during the round of pit stops. Yeah, I think it's.
I reckon the pit stops are more interesting than what's happening right now. I was thinking now.
Right.
The pit stops, the final round of pit stops, how they come out of that is it's going to be pretty crucial. Here you go, the Turtle Wax Microfiber Wheel and Trim Gorilla Glove. So it's like a mitt, but it's got fingers. I have not seen this so much. I've seen plenty of sort of just like, you know, fingerless mitts that you can use to, you know, wipe down and wax up whatnot.
I love when you read the features. The second part of the features is brilliant. Protects hands. Full stop. That's it. What more do you want for $15?
The second, again, all of these listings get so much more entertaining when you look at the sort of second and third pictures in the listing, because they've got all the fingers spread, making sure they get all the faces of, you know, cleaning up the wheel there, and that's where it really comes into its element, and it's $15 well spent on the Turtle Wax Microfiber Wheel and Trim Gorilla Glove.
You know what, I'm disappointed though, no 1-star reviews that we can go and look at, and what are they on about? Lehman and Fit of the Joshua variety have just come in and made their second pit stop, by the way.
I think we've both been looking at the clearance product section. So if you want to get them, you got to get in quick. They might be like discontinued lines, or in the case of that 2022 Red Bull Ampol Racing lanyard,
all stocks last.
They got to make room so they can sell the 2023 ones and then get their 2024s in. More pit stops going on as well, as Hasler in and Hen. Hasler's going to have a pretty long second stop here as well, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Jeffrey Wang passes Nick Wood in the pits with that phase as well. I think the pace that he's shown, he might have something left in the tank, literally, in that he's saving a dash of fuel and may be able to undercut on the pit stop. I think Bo Albert as well, he's dropped off his pace as well. I think he's just fuel saving, driving to a number right now. Especially with Capel dropping back.
I think he's washed and out of talent. No, I think you're right. It's very meticulous. He would have known what he needed to do versus Capel, and once you see that problem that Capel had, which is probably going to net him a penalty as well, as all the time lost in the damage on the car. It's just a matter of, all right, well, a top 3 would do it. This is the Porsche looking a little skatey. You were
Either that was.
so close to making that super if he'd held the drift, but he didn't. Track getting even cooler. They're having problems with it, it looks like. Now, Cleland and Funslow pit. So exactly the same models and teams in the same order as we just saw with Hassler, etc. I hate where the pit boxes are positioned here.
I hate where that concrete wall sits in comparison to the pit. Never put a camera in the right spot.
There's painted like F1 pit boxes, and that's not where your crew go. I should start a daily Twitter campaign to get this fixed.
How have your daily Twitter campaigns been?
Look,
have you been doing one recently? I haven't heard.
Good engagement, but they haven't,
Haven't had any results?
Yeah. Great for my ego, not great for the cause. So that's why it keeps going. Teammates together here, having stopped a lap apart, and sandwiched between Hassler out front and Cleland behind. They don't even need to space them further out like the F1 pit bays are. They've just got to have them a little further to the left.
Head to that Twitter on the left if you want to know what we're referring to there. You'll understand. What day are you up to? 19?
I just posted 20. 20 consecutive days of tweeting about the Aston Martin GT4 4-litre twin turbocharged engine. Bo Albert pits predicting to be the season champion, and he's in after 10 laps in the middle stint, which suggests the drivers who stopped a little early in this second round are not going to struggle to get to the end. Thinking those who were looking at like Hassler, who's on to the second lap of his stint, he's only going to have 9 to get to the end of this race, so no dramas for him. Tyson Broad has started his 10th lap in the lead of the race.
On head. Nose to tail at the moment. Brandon Groach comes out ahead of Bo Albert. Means that gap as it was. Albert's now feeling a little bit of pressure here from behind. He's got Hassler there.
Might have to pick it up just a little bit. I don't think the Ferrari is a nice handling car here by everything we've seen either.
No.
By the way, because we've seen Ferrari Fit Pro, we've seen Schwecky.
Can confirm that Bo was complaining about the handling of the car earlier in the day when he was having a little whinge about how his performance would be tonight.
You can't complain, too loudly. It's a Ferrari.
You can complain about a Ferrari while you're in Spain, can't you? Couldn't complain if you're in Imola or Monza.
Might be about to see the pit stops from the whole rest of the field. I don't see anyone else who's really going to go much longer other than Lachlan Capel, who went super long in the first stint as well. John Merritt did accidentally.
I don't think we'll see him make the same mistake again. Actually, we're seeing that John Merritt has retired the car, unfortunately. Disappointing way for championship.
Easily lost almost 2 whole minutes to it, didn't he?
I can tell you why he's given up. This is a huge crash. Uncharacteristic mistake.
This is turn 3, shallow entry. I want to be completely honest with you, Jay. It's uncharacteristic, but I don't think it's a mistake.
I agree. Something weird happened here. I think Luke Fit hasn't taken any fuel on.
Reckon he's also missed the pit lane. Yeah. He went 10 laps and then had started in 11th and maybe gone, uh-oh. And the other Mercedes driver doing that is Brady Stanley. He's on his 11th lap here, but we've seen him be a massive fuel saver before, I feel.
Yeah, 100%. That doesn't seem like something that Luke Fit was planning to do. Now, Tyson Broad has had a long pit stop. Brandon Groach is now the net race leader. So Brandon Groach and Nick Wood are first and second outright, effectively.
Yeah, indeed. A long stop from Broad, who was leading the way. Capel's in now. We can expect Stanley in, and that will be all of it for the second stops. So where's Capel relative to all of this after the problems exiting pit lane off of his first stop? He is still needing to take a bit of fuel. Not too much. Only 5 laps to go in this one. It's kind of a splash. He's going to have to be a little more careful on pit exit this time, and I'm sure he will be.
Behind Bo Albert, who's come out behind Jeffrey Wang. Okay, this time no one on his outside as he moves across to get the line right. Everyone has made their final pit stop. And it's on again for the AM lead, which of course is on for the AM championship here.
I'm pretty sure it's whoever's first on the road takes it here between these two. Because the lead was subtly to Nick Wood. Grosh took first from Nick Wood second in the small points paying race 1. Would have put him absolutely neck and neck from all we can tell and all we know. There's a 24-point delta first to second place. And I've got to call that whoever is first on the road. Scott Hasler is not on the road. Now he's got Jeffrey Wang and Lachlan Capel right up behind him. Capel can still get third in pro here.
Especially if Hasler makes more mistakes like he just did there, so can potentially steal that away. Albert also could end up stealing the race win, not just the class win, but the race win, because there is the race leaders and there is Albert. So Albert has got a bit of confidence back in the car as Jordan Peter has another issue in that Porsche. It doesn't look like it's handling too well now. This is still well and truly up for grabs. We've got 4 cars that could legitimately win this race right now.
We've had 2 rounds of pit stops, and your whole top 10 are in 5 seconds. What is going on? Broad wants second place in the outright to put a car between himself and Albert potentially, and he's looking for this outright win, of course. All of the pit stops shook through, and we had our AM class battle out front in the outright, such as Albert trying to drive within the car, Lachlan Capel trying to drive within the door panel of others. Broad's looking for how is he going to get to this outright lead, and it's going to be with an over-under potentially on Brandon Grosh, who really wants to keep a pro car between himself and Nick Wood, and I would too, but it's not going to be the case. Broad to the outright win, to a defensive position into the chicane. It reunites the battle of Brandon Grosh and Nick Wood. It's got cars. It's from Bo Albert there. Hasler and Capel are the next cars just behind this. And the top 6 are in 2 seconds after all that's happened. Now Albert has to make a move. He's forced to. And he goes between the AM class leaders. At the moment, it's advantage Brandon Grosh in that battle. It's advantage Bo Albert in his.
Hasler in the background there. He's joined onto this group, and now Capel is there too. So Capel could steal third. Albert could still steal the win. Nick Wood is probably the one that is now looking on the outside, from the outside looking in, because he has Hasler and Capel closing in quickly, and he doesn't look like he's got the pace to be able to close it back down to Brandon Groach right now. We've still got 3 laps to go, so still plenty of racing in this one. This is still well and truly up for grabs as Groach has a look. Capel has a look, and he might actually send it. This is tight.
And he does. It was ambitious. It was mighty ambitious, but he's in a all or nothing kind of position, I think. He's definitely not getting any bonus points for 0 incidents, that's for sure. And there's still the very real and looming threat of a post-race penalty. You've been looking at the spreadsheet, would you call it an almost certainty? He has a look to the inside there, nothing going.
Now, I can't see how Capel wins the championship from here unless Bo Albert gets put in the wall and scores very, very minimal points. But he looks like he's just content. As we said before, driving to a number, he doesn't look like he's pushing extremely hard or anything. So Bo Albert looks like he's A-okay for now. He's not doing anything ambitious in regards to moves. He's just doing it when he feels like it's 100% that he can do it. The other part of that too is, as you said before, the car doesn't look 100% in control either. So he is still not 100% happy with the car performance and the car setup at this track. So strange things can happen in these races. 2 to go.
Yeah, and he's splitting the AM championship fight at the moment. So got past Wood. Had a pretty quick final stop, it must be said. I wonder if Wood's got some dramas with fuel. View from Lachlan Capel. He's got a good one.
He does have a good... That sunset here. Nick Wood did hit a lap later than Groach, but it's still 2 seconds shorter of a stop, wasn't it? So you could be right. He might be right on that borderline in regards to fuel, and how it's going to be very interesting to watch with 2 and a bit minutes to go in the championship. Not in the race, but in the whole championship.
Here goes Capel having a look again. He's a lot further alongside this time. He pushes out wide. He gives it a little hip and shoulder. He's trying to hold this one to the next corner as well. Forceful move if he pulls it off, and he does. He comes across and he throws the nose, and no, the number 2, Scott Hasler, ends up in the wall, ends up on the racing line. They've all got to avoid him as well. Got to be careful driving backwards on the racetrack. It will very aggressively throw a disqualification at you. Saw that happen earlier today to someone else.
And confirm it has happened to me. More times than I'd like to admit.
Minute and 30 left. Tyson Broad in the race lead. Bo Albert sandwiched between the AM leaders, and he's looking to get a cut back. He tried to jink it to change direction quickly as he's carrying a little more speed, but kind of blocked in behind. They're on the final lap. On your screen, Brandon Groach looking to steal the AM championship in the final race from Nick Wood. Between them, Bo Albert looking to cruise around and take the Pro Championship, just needing to stay out of trouble. He's a look behind. I mean, how does that... if there was contact, it looked like it was square nose to tail.
I'm confused.
And so how would that spin the car behind?
I'm confused. I'm honestly very confused with that one.
If there was any contact, I would have expected to have seen it spin Capel.
Yep.
Not spin Hasler.
I'm thinking exactly the same as you. Unfortunate for Hasler, but it puts Capel onto a provisional podium in Pro now, but this Pro, then AM, then Pro, then AM, then Pro. A very good mix of drivers tonight, and also top 6 have 4 different manufacturers in it as well, which is always cool.
That's the end game. Cars that win a lot get a little bit of power taken from them. Cars that are always finishing up the back get given a little more. By the end of the season, by about round 2, things should be all square, all on the level. The checkered flag waiting for Tyson Broad. He's going to win the race. Brandon Grosh is going to win the AM Championship, and Bo Albert will be the Simrigs.com Oz Pro Am Pro Champion. I think both of them know it.
Oh, Albert 100% we can confirm has won the Pro Championship. Not 100% sold on who has won the AMP Championship yet. Time to crunch some numbers, but congratulations either way. Brandon Groach, that was a brilliant drive from him in both races to pick up the win in AM, second outright, and had the pace to maybe win the race if Broad didn't quite have as much pace as he had too. So I reckon Brandon Groach, absolutely brilliant drive from him tonight. Did everything in his power to try and win the championship. I don't know if it's enough. I'm working that out now, but pretty close.
How about Albert and Capel on this cool down lap?
These two are talking to each other at the moment too on Discord, so they'll be both very happy with how it's played out in the end, but what a fun championship we've had.
Yeah, a lot of strategy, a lot of racing, a lot of drama, a lot of different models of GT3 in contention. Modus operandi of the Simrigs.com Oz Pro Am Sim Series is that round-to-round balanced performance based on the results to give everyone a shot and a chance. Tyson Broad taking his shot at the race win. Brandon Grosh, the AM winner. Bo Albert, Nick Wood, Lachlan Capel, Adam Funslow, Christopher Hand, Hamish Cleland, Jeffrey Wang, and Brady Standley. After his big fuel-saving strategies, ends up there in the 10th outright. Richard Brookfield, Sam Lehman, Jordan Peter, Scott Hasler, Colin Schwecke, last car on the lead lap. And Joshua Fitt, Luke Fitt, John Merritt, Ben Jeffrey, Adam Jepson, some big scalps from race number 2. And you've been doing some digging. What do you know, Jay?
Unconfirmed, but it looks like Nick Wood will win the championship purely based off 0 incidents in both races tonight. Might be enough for him to win the championship. So congratulations. Either way, whichever way it goes, we're not 100% sure, but unofficially it'll be Nick Wood. But both of those drivers were the class of the field in AM, and they put on a great fight, a great show all the way through the season, so it was great to watch.
Someone wreck Bo Albert on the pit straight right now. He's taking a YouTube thumbnail. I can tell with absolute certainty you're going to see a Bo Albert sim racing thumbnail of where that Ferrari is right now. Can you do it, Jay? Have you got it? Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. Zoomed and cropped.
Oops, that's
oh
underground. Just giving away some secrets there, aren't we?
Yeah, I reckon.
That's the thumbnail right there, isn't it? Look, even the smoke makes it look like him doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Spanish sun across the right-hand side of the car. Yeah. He started posting again too, much to everyone's surprise. Everyone's surprise, but only some people's delight. And Burnout's happy out there.
Glad you said that. I couldn't get away with saying that, but you can. We've got to decide on a Make It Super Award. I put my suggestion in the chat.
Did you?
Yep, just scroll up a tiny little bit.
Oh yeah.
We on the same page, I think.
Is it someone we haven't awarded yet?
Look, I've got the list here, and
yeah.
I do not see his name on the list, so I think we're good.
Yeah, I reckon. Okay,
Done.
for the last time, the Super Cheap Auto Make It Super Award goes to the double AM race winner, Brandon Grosh. So we've seen lots of interesting things on clearance at Super Cheap Auto at the moment. $20 will get plenty into his basket. He has 2 race wins to go with a late season championship charge. Got lots of people to speak to now as well. Lots of people want to have a chat with us.
Go for it. You talk to whoever you want first.
Nick Wood joins us. Nick Wood. Now, I'm sure you've been grinding your pencil down to nothing on the notepad. Do you know what we know?
No, I don't. In suspense.
Jay Kennedy says you are... Sam Lehman doesn't say, but Jay Kennedy says you are the AM champion for this season of SimRigs.com Oz Pro Am Sim Series, with 0 incident points in both of your races. Is that correct?
That's what I was attempting.
Yeah, well, Grosh had 7 in the first race and 8 in the second, and by all accounts, that keeps you in the championship lead.
Oh, that's so awesome. I'm stoked.
AM was always an interesting class throughout the whole season because you're with the same balance of performance as the pros. You're mixed in between them. You were second outright at the point coming towards the end of this race here as well. So you've got to surely manage a lot to come away with those 0 incident races, pick up all those little points in every place you can, and in the end, provisionally come away with the championship.
Yeah, that was my plan. I just tried to keep out of the way of everyone, and I let a few guys past, as long as they weren't in the AM class.
Well, how about Barcelona then? It looked very tricky for a lot of the cars, maybe a bit of a slightly low grip surface.
Yeah, tyre wear was pretty high, really. I was struggling with that. I did a bit of practice, and after the second pit stop, it gets a bit dicey.
And your pit strategy in this 2 pit stop race, relatively traditional, you'd say?
Yeah, I think so. I just ran the fuel out both times and pitted then.
Well, congratulations. Good race, good season, and we think good championship.
Yeah, thank you. And it was a good race with Brandon too. He's probably just a touch faster than me most of the time, but he had a bit of bad luck with Hockenheim and Nürburgring, I think. So that's probably what made the difference.
Right, well, if there are further seasons of Oz Pro-Am, and we suspect there probably will be, I imagine we'll be seeing you on the grid.
Yeah, for sure. I'll try and be here if work allows and everything.
Well, congrats, and we'll see you around, no doubt.
Yeah, thank you to you guys for the broadcast and Sam for putting on the whole thing. And want to thank Player One Sim Gear, sponsor of our team, Twitchyfoot Racing.
There you go, Nick Wood, second in AM class in that one. And not a bad result in race 1 either, just to keep him in that championship hunt. Jay Kennedy has gone and grabbed someone who's probably also going to be happy to hear from us.
Yeah, congratulations to our AM Race 1 and Race 2 winner, Brandon Grosh. Almost stole the win in the end there in the outright position, but congratulations on a great effort. We don't think it's quite enough for winning the championship, but you took it right to the last second in the last race, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, I tried my hardest, but I was pretty certain that once he got second and he stayed there, the championship was going to be close to done. I needed a few things to go my way in order to win that, but I'm happy with the AM win in both races and second outright in the main race. I tried to go for the main race win, but just couldn't catch Tyson.
Tyson looked like he had a little bit too much pace. It looks like it may have actually just come down to the 0 incidents in the end as well, but hey, we got a nice consolation prize for you. Congratulations, you've won the $20 Super Cheap Auto Make It Super Award for tonight for both the race wins, so congratulations on that. Not a bad way to end the championship.
I'll take another $20 voucher to Super Cheap. No, I'm quite happy with the way this has ended. I gave a good fight. A couple races let me down in the championship, as I think Nick said, but just means next year I can still improve. Or next season, sorry.
Yep, so what are you looking forward to next season? You're looking at making potentially the step up to pro, considering you've really matched yourself with those guys in this race tonight very, very well.
I mean, I wouldn't mind going another round in AM because I wouldn't mind that championship.
Trying to steal the win.
If they bump me up to pro, then I guess I'm not too concerned. I'll try and give them a run for their money. So I'm looking forward to hopefully switching cars. I'm a bit sick of the BMW now.
Didn't look like it was perfectly suited at every round, but tonight it looked like it did a very, very good job. Congratulations on a very, very good championship. We better let you thank all the people you need to thank, or else you might get a little bit of trouble.
Thank you. I would like to thank all our sponsors from Leaf Juice Racing, Juiced Energy, Toyo Sim, the petrol company, Eddie's PC Repairs, and I'd also like to thank my other two partners in crime in this series, Scott and Hamish. They have helped me out immensely with trying to get this championship win.
Of it, our race 1 and 2 AM winner, Evan Haynes, you run up the pit lane, and who have you grabbed for a chat? I've caught you off guard, haven't I?
Tyson Broad. So, race winner in race 2, not smooth sailing the whole way through, but you'd be happy to end the championship like that, Tyson.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even though I was only running the series part-time, I always just made sure I gave it everything. And yeah, tonight I actually had some pace for a change, which is extremely rare for me. But yeah, race 1 didn't go to plan off the start, but then a good fight back to get reverse grid pole helped me massively get the win in race 2.
Thoughts on the format that we've had this season as far as the cars available, the tracks?
It's quite a good format. I mean, a short sprint race to start things off. Maybe that would ideally be 5 minutes longer. But then the race with 2 pit stops is really good because, invite strategy of, do you short pit, do you short fill the first stop, or do you fill up and then short fill on the last stop?
Which path do you feel like you ended up more mainly following?
Mainly filling it up on the first stop and then going on with lighter fuel later on.
Some of the AM drivers around you really had some pace here as well. Speak with your AM drivers and they're like, yeah, don't want to get tangled amongst the pros. I'm looking for, finishing my race, looking for 0 incidents. But shoes on the other foot, you kind of, got to get past them, got to keep them behind in your own little race as well.
Yeah, definitely. Also making sure that you clear them in relatively quick fashion to make sure you don't get held up by them and, lose time to your fellow pro competitors. Is definitely a challenge in them, especially when some of them do have quite good pace.
You navigated it serenely in the 40-minute race 2, and you take the last race win of the Simrees.com Oz Pro Am Sim series for this season. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Really only got a couple left, Jay. You're down to 2 options.
And I'll steal Lachlan Capel for the next chat. Lockie, not quite the way you wanted to have the night go, but you gave it everything you possibly could for that championship fight. Not quite enough for Bo in the end.
Yeah, I had race 1 was just got the better jump on me, and then race 2 made a bit of a broke too late coming out the pits because I thought I was a little bit behind, and then I overshot the corner a little bit too much, and the person on the outside turned in and got spun. But really happy with how I actually managed to come back from that, plus the fact that going long able me to get an extra little bit of fuel in the car for later, so I ended up within 2 seconds of the leader after being 10-12 behind, so I'm really happy with how that ended up.
It's been a pretty up and down season overall, hasn't it? You've had some extremely good highs, but you've had some horrible luck as well. But I think finishing overall P2 behind Bo, probably not the worst way that the season could have ended.
No, I'm very happy. I mean, obviously, we had the whole threat with a couple of other guys with Connell and then Merritt at the end, but yeah, we were just able to pick up some better points and get some better runs. I mean, the Lambo was a pretty good car to pick this season, but I might lean towards that Merc next season just because I'm driving it in Speed Cafe and I'm doing a lot of other things in that car, so I might start to lean on it a little bit more, but the Lambo was definitely really good this week. I mean, I had a really mega quali lap with some strats I found from Speed Cafe and a bunch of other sort of stuff. So yeah, P2, nothing to complain. Of course, it's not a win, and I couldn't follow it up from last season. But then Bo again is an extremely quick driver who nearly qualified for, or attempted to qualify and did pretty well in PESQ back in the old Cup car and this new Cup car. So it was definitely a very big uphill battle, but I'm happy with how it played out.
Congratulations, mate, on a really good season, and we'll no doubt see you again out on track. We better let you thank those people you need to thank.
Yeah, of course. Just as a whole, just through this championship, I want to give a huge thanks both to Drop Bear Motorsport and, of course, my current team, Evolution Racing Team. Big change for me about midway through the season after Catalonia, not after Catalonia, after Montreal, I think. And yeah, it was a big pickup for me and allowed to learn off of all the big guys such as Seb and that, and get into the V8 and start competing in top split scops in the top 20. So really big change, but also just a big thanks to Drop Bear for that, for continuing and giving all the support I needed at the start, and obviously Tyson there for picking up the big guns where I left off and grabbing his first win in AusPass for a while. And finally, just a big shout out to you guys for putting on the stream. I know you guys have done this in and out for 3 seasons now, and as one of the stewards in AusPass and who worked closely with Sam for a little bit, we give a big thanks to you guys for continuing to put this on and hopefully putting this on for next season to showcase some of the great racing that happens in this league.
We get us to be back, we'll be back again. So thanks, Lockie, for your work throughout the season, and we'll no doubt chat to you again another time. All the best.
Cheers, guys.
Leaves us with one more. Mr. Haynes, I'll let you take it away with our new championship winner.
That's right. Bo Albert joins us, and a very, very measured drive with the championship on your mind delivers the goods.
Yeah, that was not an easy race by any means. I'd love to say that it wasn't measured because I had some very big issues in that second race. But the goal coming into this was just to keep it clean, stay out of trouble. I knew I had a points lead over Lachlan coming into it, so really had to sort of hit my marks. But yeah, in that second race, in the first pit stop, I rode the clutch a lot out of the pit box because I'm trying to look after rear tires. Because as you saw in the first race, rear tires went off really quick in the Ferrari, so I rode the clutch quite a lot, and I ended up burning the clutch out entirely. So for that entire second stint, I was really struggling with gears weren't engaging, had to manually blip, basically like a V8 supercar and everything. So I've never had to manage a mechanical issue like that in a sim race before, so that was really, really fun. Just wish it didn't quite happen in such a crucial race, but we got away with it.
So the qualifying exploit patch forcing you to patch your driving in the race.
Yeah, apparently I was trying to brake drag out of the pit lane or something. Nah, I just rode the clutch for too long. I was managing rear tires and yeah, just did not want to go through the same pain I went through in race 1.
Yeah, very interesting. A couple Ferraris on the grid, and all of them did seem to struggle with this circuit. Like it's high tire wear. There's some off-camber corners. What was the most challenging part there then?
I think the hardest thing in the Ferrari around here was the braking stability, because I feel like that's where we're burning quite a lot of our tires, because we're putting so much load on the front tires. Because especially in the first sector, the car really liked to snap under brakes, so you have to be really, really delicate. And I don't know about the other guys, but for me, I had to put the brake bias quite a lot further forward than I would normally put it. And that was just killing front tires. And then as a consequence. The balance was wrong and that's how to slide the rears. So there was a lot of issues with the Ferrari tonight. So it was just a bit of a managing game, I think.
Is there going to be more Oz Pro-Am for Bo, or you got your focus elsewhere in sim racing in the next few months and almost, I guess, for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think I might come back for another season of AusPass. I did really enjoy it, and the guys, Sam Lehman and the crew do a fantastic job of what they're doing. So,
It'll depend how many views the YouTube videos are getting, right?
Oh, absolutely, of course. So, go over to youtube.com/Bo. No, thanks for the plug set up there, David. I appreciate you. But,
where should people go if they need Aston Martin facts?
If they need Aston Martin facts, they should definitely not go to your Twitter. That is my takeaway from.
You're horrible, and you're lucky we're still speaking with you. But any other thoughts about this championship, about the rolling balance performance? I mean, obviously, it is a unique format in that way, as far as the race format goes, the short sprint into the feature race with a lot of strategy, and then also that rolling balance performance.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great concept. Like, obviously, so many times we see, a manufacturer-based balance performance, but you can still sort of end up in a similar form guide week in, week out, whereas at least with this, where it is a bit more focus on the drivers as well, as a bit of a sort of success ballast, if you will. I think it makes some great racing. It puts up some unique situations as well, like, there'll be times where you can finish 9th and it'll feel like a race win just because 9th was the absolute best your car could achieve on the day. So that makes it interesting. I don't know if the format or the formula is absolutely perfect, but, I know Sam puts a lot of work into it. I know he's done it for many seasons, so I'll trust the process. But, yeah, it's a brutal championship in that regard because you don't have the ability to go into every race knowing you can win. But, yeah, no, it's good fun. I enjoy it.
Congratulations to you once again. How does a Bo Albert celebrate a championship like this?
What do you think, David? I've got a 4-pack of Monster Energy right beside me. I reckon it's time to crack open a few. You're more than welcome to come on down.
I could do with that, to be honest, but it's a little too far. We'll see you around, Bo.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.
That's the curtain on a season of simrigs.com Oz Pro-Am Sim Series with 3 champions across the divisions and great racing at every circuit. Never knew what was around the corner. I mentioned that as far as the balance performance went. You never know who was going to be strong at which tracks for when and how. Nick Wood comes away with an AM championship. Sam Muir comes away with a Pass 2 championship, and Bo Albert comes away with a Pro championship, and all of them delighted by it. Thanks to the sponsors of this championship, simrigs.com, Exodus Racing, Super Cheap Auto with the Make It Super Award that definitely gave us something unique to talk about this season, and it's probably pretty popular with all of those who are on the receiving end of it. Echuca Toyota and Index Designs as well. 10 rounds, action-packed, champions crowned, and the curtain falls on the simrigs.com Oz Pro-Am Sim Series for this season.
you like it?
I love it, yeah.
Yeah.
Now when you go pre-owned, you can enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota. Tested and backed by Toyota.
Upgrade your car, mate.
This? Yeah, no big deal.
Toyota certified. Pre-owned in a class of its own. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.